Recording in progress.
How do I share my screen again?
Okay, you're gonna go.
Here, down there.
Share, yeah. And then, but you're gonna have to, okay, yeah, that right there. Okay.
So that's what they're seeing, huh?
Yep.
Is one way to minimize this, I guess, over here.
Yep. Your microphone is on.
Okay.
I have my microphone off over here, so that way there's not that echo.
You see how many people are there?
$29.
Good. Okay, it's 5.
You go get.
Good evening, everyone. This is Roy Weisert from Weisert Investment Services, and I'm here with my daughter, Megan, who also works for Weisert Investment Services. And let's just do a little check here. What we can do is we can ask questions during this session, and if you type them into chat, we'll go ahead and address those at the end. But can everybody hear me okay? Somebody please respond in the chat that it's looking good.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So without any further ado, I always started off with this screen over here. Again, I'm Roy Weisert, Weisert Investment Services. We provide the investment strategies that power TSP tips and the different tips applications we have. And so you've heard me talk about this. Price is really what we look at in order to see how things are going. And what we're going to be covering tonight is the Schwab Tips 365 order process. That's the thing that seems to be hanging up a few people. And anytime you take on a new endeavor, such as using a different software, it can be a little bit challenging at times. And so I'm here to help you walk through it tonight. And so we'll take that step by step. I have this slide deck. I've already sent it to Justin. So anybody that's on the recording tonight, he will send that to you afterward. But if you feel like taking screenshots as we go along here, that's okay too. Or if you want to record it, that's fine by me too. Again, I'm here with my daughter, Megan, and we'll go to the next one here, page. Okay. So the two major questions we always have when you want to do investments is that of the performance ranking, which we use in order to know where to be in the market, i.e. what stock or ETF in this case, and then moving averages and candlestick reversals in order to know when to be in those stocks that have the highest performance ranking. So it's a combination of those two items and the criteria associated with it. We're not going to press on that much tonight, such as the strategy. This is going to deal more with the process once it comes in. All right, so what happens then is that this is from the other day, and if you have a Schwab account, and hopefully you do, although this can be used on any of those platforms, Robinhood, Fidelity, but we kind of like Schwab. And what I usually do every day is that I have multiple accounts, and this is the one for Schwab tips. And it's laid out like every other one, symbol, description, and then different columns. And then over on the far right side, the percentage of accounts. So I'm going to go over this in greater detail one by one. We should take about maybe 25, 30 minutes, and then we have the remainder of the time allocated for any question or answer. So here's the tips that I sent out yesterday for today. And just so you know, I did change the verbiage a little bit more on the top half of it when you get this in the email or the uh, of course, the email, yeah. And of course, we'll have the date up there, what date it's applicable for. But let's just go column by column. The performance ranking is on the far left, and that's how we sort these to know, as I said, where to invest. And this performance ranking, I've covered it before, but it looks at four different periods: a 1 month, 3 months, 6 month, and then 12 month. And it looks at the rate of return and it multiplies it by 40% for 1 month, 30 for the three, uh, 20 for the 6 month, and then 10% on the 12 months. You sum that up and you get that number on the far left column. So you can see what's up at the top and how it all structures itself through there. Okay, on the next two columns, that is used to illustrate when we bought the stock on its most recent cycle and what price we paid for it. And that's going to differ, as everybody gets their prices set. And I'll talk to more about that. But the point about it, what we're trying to do here is that right now, when we sent this out for yesterday, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stocks or ETFs that have that bright greenish color. The next, okay, so that's where the current, if it's not green, that gives us the previous price from the last cycle. Okay. And if there's no color, nothing in those cells, such as there is with Dragonfly and Astera about 2/3 of the way down, that means they've never given us a buy yet on this strategy. Okay, so the next two columns are where it gets into where it interacts with you. And the point about it here is that the buy column, it can have different aspects to it. On the third row down, you'll see Bloom Energy, and it says it's on the watch list. And the watch list is for a stock or ETF, and I'm just going to say stock from now on, is a stock that does not meet the initial buy criteria. And that was when we talked about the moving average and the candlestick. So something does not meet criteria. So we're just watching it and stand by until it does meet that criteria. And then the next item that is going to come in, and let's say you're deciding to purchase a stock, that's where you need to look at the buy stop column. That's important when you're going to buy a stock. Okay. And once you have those cells, like at the very top there, or let's say TMQ, the second row down, that's not on the watch list and it meets the buy criteria, but it has to meet that certain buy stop price of $4.97. When it hits that stop, as the stock is rising, it's going to activate a circuit breaker, let's say, that will change that stop into a buy market order, get the best available price. So stop becomes at that price an active market order. And so it may differ just slightly from what you placed it. If it hits the stop at 497, especially in the beginning of the morning, you might get it for $5 or a few cents more. It all depends upon how much stocks are being traded in the morning. And then say the TMQ, we purchased it at 9:30 in the morning or 9:35. As soon as you get what you call a buy fill order that is confirmed, then you can go back in there and set a sell stop for the remaining hours of the day. That just makes sure you're not getting uncovered. So again, you go in there, the stop is activated, and then once it's activated, you go and look at the sell stop and plug that in. Other things you have there, yellow, I've used that just so that you don't have to go back and check everything. If something has changed from the previous day, I try to go ahead and annotate that in yellow. So it's not like you're searching in order to find out where the changes are. I know that can be frustrating too. And then, of course, on the right side is the ticker and the name of that fund, of that stock, just so that it matches up across the board. And altogether, we follow about 85 stocks and go through there. However, what we'll do is that we'll only display the top 120 of them. And that's usually where all the performance, that's who rises to the top. So again, performance, buy date and price. Then you have the buy stop for when you buy orders. And then once you've bought it, the buy date and the buy price turns green. And then you're basically on the sell stop column in order to go and say, okay, now if it drops down to this price, we're going to go hit that sell stop and it'll become a market order and sell it at that point. And we're going to go over this in a little bit more. Again, if you have any questions, go ahead and please put them in the chat and we'll go from there. Okay, so this is what I kind of say. First of all, when I get that, I make sure that the amount of green positions in the spreadsheet that I send are equal to what I have in my account there. So I think we had 5 stocks annotated in the previous screen. So make sure we have each of those 5 stocks listed there, because you want to make sure everything is balanced as you get into the position changes. Okay. And then over on the far right, it says the cost basis and how much the gain was, and the percentage of account. What I'm liking this year for myself, my personal account, and you could do it however you would like. I always say I want to hold about 10 stocks, and with a account value on the top left there of $743,000, what I like to do is just divide that by 10 and round it down to about $70,000. So that's where you get your cost basis. And you can do that many different ways. If you're late to getting into a trade, instead of taking the full amount, you might want to take a lesser amount. And if you just want to get familiar with the software too, you can just go in there and purchase 1 share. And that's fine and dandy too. But again, the last column shows you the percent of your allocation. So this is kind of like the verified count. You go through and make sure everything is balanced before you get into it. Now,
before you go into the next slide, do you want to answer some questions?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'm going to answer some questions. Okay.
So the first one is, so is the sell stop until filled or just for the day?
The sell stop, you place a good to cancel order, and I'll go over that in a little bit. But yes, it might go from a buy stop, and then all of a sudden when I go and check the next day, it doesn't meet the criteria for the initial criteria, and we'll take it off the list. And at that point, you'll see I'll put in there cancel order. And I did that in the email you should be receiving today for tomorrow's action. Okay. Anything else, Megan?
Regarding the stocks that are trending up after hours, like SLV, the buy stop was 67.23 and your trade executed at significantly higher.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to mention too, is that these buy stops and sell stops are only active during the normal hours of the stock market. So basically, it hits 9:30, the opening bell. That's when they become active. So if you had a buy stop in there and it was hit that certain point or above that, or if it had a big run up overnight, it wouldn't catch it till the next day. Okay. Same thing with a sell stop. But you usually don't see that much of a big gradient change. Okay. And I'll talk more about that, some little things as it deals with bid and ask price and some error message that you could possibly get replacing the trade. Okay. Anything else?
Would you place a limit order when market is closed or just wait until the market opened to place the buy order?
No. And here's the biggest thing. A buy is straightforward. Okay. Let me just hold off on that one, okay? Because I think it's going to get addressed as we go through these slides.
Okay.
And we can always come back and follow that again.
Okay.
Okay.
And then last question. This is different from the TSP tips, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Big difference. TSP is only used for TSP subscribers if you're a government employee or were a government employee. This can be used by anybody. Your friend down the block, and it doesn't have two restrictions. How many restrictions per month? You can use it in any type of account, a joint, individual, IRA, 401k if they have individual stocks. So yes, uh, it's for any. It's basically anybody that has an account. Actually, I would recommend that if you're going to use this, you try to use it within a tax deferred account, such as a Roth IRA or a traditional, and that way you're not messing around with the tax reporting at the end of the calendar year. Okay. All right. So here we go. Okay. So verification of the code, have that right there. And then now, uh, how do we change? How do we make the order, change the order, or make a new order? Okay, so you can see over there, one of the pages that I usually use a lot is that trade at the top left, where it's highlighted there, and then the order status. And if you look at the status, that can flip between open, filled, and also the date range. You can go to today, yesterday, back 7 days, whatever. You can define all the criteria. One thing that I find useful is I like to go to today at any time, and let's say it's 10 o'clock or 10:30, and say date range today, filled, and that way I could see exactly where there are changes in the holdings or positions, whether it's a buy or a sell. And then you can see the different orders that you have over there on the left. Now, we had those prices come on in. So you can see some of them are buys and some of them are sells that we had in there. Let's take a look at the far right. And that's where all your trading activity takes place, really. The other middle portion that is unmarked there, it just tells you the quantity, different stop markets, good till cancels. Uh, when you have a fill, it's going to tell you the fill price. And then also last time you went and modified the order itself. So now let's talk about change and change, cancel. Change is where it changes the buy or sell stop from one day to the next. Cancel where it falls out, an order falls out of grace. It doesn't meet criteria. So that's what you would do there. And then also you have the snap ticket, which is on the far right, which is the easiest way to go ahead and start either a new buy or a new sell. And I'm going to click on that, or let me just say, I'm just going to go to the next slide. And this is what when you click on it, this is what it brings up. Some important parts there. It tells you which account it is, just to verify it, because sometimes people have multiple Schwab accounts, like I do. But in this case, let's say you wanted to go ahead and purchase SPY, which is the S&P 500 ETF. Okay, pretty much marries up with what this S&P 500 is doing. So you would just go there if it wasn't listed, recently searched, or if you wanted to go to something else like Palantir, PTIR, you would just type it in there. You can use the full page ticket that's listed there, or if you get confused, you can hit clear. But it's really pretty simple. One thing I will say about this, if you make an error, it'll catch it and it will tell you, and you'll be needed to correct it. And I found that the people at the help desk at Schwab are very, very helpful. They can even log in and see your screen if you allow them. So that's what it is. All right, so here we are. We're going to buy the SPY. Okay, so I'm clicking on that. I'm going to the next page. Name of it is populated up there in the top right. And then I have, okay, it's trading at 687, and you have the bid ask price. Usually the prices there are usually close for the stocks. Some of the stocks that we're following here during the extended hours, that might be a wide range, and you might want to go back there and check it in the morning just after the market opens. But just follow what the different blocks are. So in this case, I want to buy some amount of shares of the SPY. So I would go in there, go to the first action, and I select buy. and it gives me some options there. And what we want to do is always use the buy and or the sell, depending upon which way, whether you own the stock or not. So that's the first item. Second item is now you go down to the order type. And the type you want is that stop market, where if it hits that circuit breaker, it's going to change that order from a stop to a market order. Okay. And it'll get filled at the best available price. So again, think of that as the stop, or the stop is the same thing as a trigger or a circuit breaker. Now we have to decide where that circuit breaker is. And it's on that spreadsheet that I gave you or sent to you. And what you'll do also, first of all, you click the good to cancel. Okay. Always click that. That's easy to do because as soon as it's filled, you don't have to worry about GTC anymore because you'll be doing the new sell order. But you select stop market, and then you would go in there and type in your stop price. Okay. Whatever's on the spreadsheet. So we're getting there, filling in all the blanks. In this case, I didn't look at anything else. I just typed in 690.22, which is above here, above the ask price. Okay. And so when it price increases from 687 over in here, and it hits up another 3 points to 690.22, then that order will be activated. But oh yeah, I need to go ahead and take a look at the quantity. Now I could do it one share, but the nice thing about it is that I told you I like to do 10% of my account approximately. So I would go into here, now the quantity, and I type in 70,000, and looking at the price for the stop, it will automatically calculate the number of shares that you'll get. So when you type in the quantity up here, the dollar amount, you just hit apply, and then you will get this. It says it allows you to go ahead, it changed that order to 101 shares, okay, with $70,000. So now we have buy. We know how many share quantity is that's going to be purchased at 690, and it's a stop market. It's good to cancel till what you call Independence Day, basically. And the amount is over in here, $69,712 is approximately what it's going to cost. Now, so you have the chance to look at it over there. And then if it looks good, you want to hit review, which will check out something. Aha. Notice it picked up an error. I didn't have the buying power that was necessary because I've had other stocks in the queue waiting with previous buys. So if you don't have the cash available for 70,000 because of that, you're going to have to modify your order to come down below that. So in this case, you can see down here, this is important as you go through there when these order messages, when you see something that is wrong, refer to it right down here and it'll give you the explanation. And you'll probably, as you become more familiar with this, you'll understand it and you'll go, oh yeah, I forgot to do that. All right, so I have to go back now and change the quantity. I knock it down to 14 shares at 690. The estimated amount is now $9,663, which is below the buying power. So the review looks good.
Two quick questions
Go ahead.
based on this. So the first one is what does the bid and ask price associated with? What is the bid and ask?
Okay.
They're asking it to explain that part.
Okay. The bid and ask. I have this screen up here. What happens there is that the people that actually sell you the shares are called market makers, and they make money on the bid ask spread, it's called. So in this case, the bid ask spread is 4 cents between the bid and the ask. And so what they try to do, the market makers, they always want you to pay more for it. And think of ask as the opposite of what you really want. You want to get it, you want to buy it low, but the market maker is saying, no, you have to buy the ask price. It's just like with a house or a car or anything like that. So he's asking 687.64. And if you put it below that, it's going to say you need to increase your ask price. So it's a penny above that. Okay. Uh, Conversely, the bid price is the opposite of what you think it is. It's what you could sell the price. So if you kind of look at it backwards and say, okay, I know that I want to buy something cheap, but it's never going to be the cheapest price. It's always going to be higher. You can get 687.64. There's also at times when you place different types of trades, such as limits, where you can play that spread. You might say, I want to have a limit order in there so that I'm not going to pay more than $687.62. So that's, and if you're a little bit confused with my explanation, the best place to go is Investopia, or just call it up and chat GPT. Those two items are very useful as reference materials. Okay.
Another question.
Yeah.
Why did you put in the price at 690 when the spreadsheet said 687?
This was just an example. I was just picking out a number that would be above, that price. Okay. And by the way, SPY did get filled today. As we'll talk more about that. That was just me typing in numbers.
Just a random number.
Random number above the current price. Because we always want to buy stuff as it's trending up. Orders. Okay. Mm-hmm. Conversely, you want to sell it when it starts to trend down. And that's part of the strategy. And that's a little bit different than a limit. Let's say the price for the SPY is 687 as it here. And you put a limit price that when it get at 680. So that price is currently 687. It has to drop 7 points to get to 680 before the limit order is hit. And at that point, it will be executed. So two different functions as about where the price is regarding that circuit breaker, with that circuit breaker that activates either a limit order or a market order, a stop market order. Okay. Anything else there, Meg?
Did that answer the question about Jonathan? Did that answer your question about 690?
No. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a typical scenario. I know you did that just for the example, but to one of the other listeners' questions, you'll say buy this SPY at 690, but we're seeing it at 687 when we're putting the order in. Typical stock buying, you want to buy it at the lower price, but you don't want us to buy it until it hits 690 because that's what your analysis shows. Is that correct?
Yes. You want to buy it in an uptrend. There's so many times that you can see there. And even if it does meet the criteria, it might just stall out there. So what we're trying to do is hit momentum and breakouts to the upside.
Gotcha. One other follow-up, if you wouldn't mind. Back to that SLV, sure. I had a buy order on that, but the after hours was making it tick up quite a bit. If you have a buy stop at, let's just say, $68 per share, and it ends up getting executed at 71, is going above your buy stop too much at some point?
That's I hate to say it depends, but a couple of the things you can do is that you can take a look at this just before the market opens. I personally would let the thing go through, and that's just my druthers. That's not that big of a difference. Sometimes you will see bigger moves in the markets overnight, especially if there's earnings or something like that, or good news comes out after the market closes. Like I'm saying, earnings. What time did earnings always come out afterward? After the 1600 close, around 1630. So you could see movement afterward. Um, so it's just, uh, it says, yeah, maybe I could take it off and cancel the order before the market opens, before 9:30. You always have that option to go through it and look at itself. But I haven't found it to be very detrimental. And disconcerting where I'm that worried about it in the big picture. Again, I want to catch the movement up, and a lot of
Okay,
times,
understood. Thank you.
yeah, a lot of times you never know how far up it's going to go. So, but I appreciate any question, and always, if you want to talk to me personally, one on one afterward, you have my phone number on that front page, that front slide. I love talking this stuff anyway. All right, going to the next one. And then after you review it, then you just go place the order. And then it tells you another warning down there. Please note that when a stop order triggers, it becomes a market order. Because of this, and depending on the market conditions, this order may execute at a price significantly different than the stop price. Okay. So it gives you one last chance to edit or cancel it down there. But in most cases, you're going to hit place the order. And what you'll see there, now you can go back to the open order status page, and you can see how that market order got placed for the 14 shares in the top row there. It told me when I placed it, which was this morning, and then the activity and all the particulars. And then you say, I did that just to demonstrate this. And then when I went back and I changed the screen, I could either review it again or cancel this. Okay. In this case, I canceled it on the far right there, and it disappeared. Okay. Now it disappeared there. Now, this is another thing that's very useful here. I've taken you through the process of going ahead and buying the stock. Now, initially, when you buy it, and this is why I was saying the filled either yesterday or today, you can toggle between it. If you have today, it's going to give you, of course, what happened this morning, let's say. And if you notice that there's a buy filled over here in these left columns, like on Rocket Lab, instead of going in there and setting up a stop order with the snap ticket, you can just hit the opposite order over here on the far right. And what that does, it'll take the number of shares that you have, give you some of the fields, and fill in sell stop where you just put the price in. So in this case, I hit opposite order on the buy fills, and it'll take me to, it would have taken me to that very first page. Just some other options that I want to talk about, or comments that we've seen. Again, I've talked about that bid ask and the stock price, how that might be different than what it's actually filled at. We talked about the bid ask. I think I mentioned about the number of stocks. Just because I picked out 10, you don't have to pick out 10. I use it because we have 20 stocks that we follow. Maybe about 1/3 of them are in the watch lists. And so it kind of marries somewhere between 12 and 15, let's say, that you could be tracking. And if I run out of $70,000 blocks as I'm getting to that 10th trade, I'll probably split that in two and keep splitting it so that I can have at least some shares in that area.
We have some questions.
Okay, so let's go ahead and I'll go on to my next page, which is questions.
Okay. So two questions that are similar. In order to make the annual subscription worth it, what is an estimated minimum account value to start with? Is there a minimal amount that is suggested to utilize this product? Is this a product for a seasoned investor, trader, or something an average Joe can utilize?
Okay, so let's talk about the first one, the amount of money necessary. Mm-hmm. With Schwab, you can buy, there's no price that they charge you, a minimum, in order to be in let's say to have an IRA. Let's say you transfer it over from another place. Or if you want to open up a joint account, you just want to fund it with $5,000 or $1,000. You could do that, use $100 each or one share just to get the mechanics down until you become more comfortable with it. But no, Schwab doesn't have any druthers, whether it's $100 or 200,000 or 20 million. They are really good about that. And the other thing I like about Schwab, this gets into there's no transaction fees. You're not going to see that, like they normally get hit. I think there is one slight order fee, but it's nothing like it used to be. It's not like the MFW tips where they charge you $29 in order to do a trade. And in fact, if you wanted to, you could use MFW tips with Schwab and just use the same criteria. And there's no limit. You don't need to put in X amount like you would have to if you wanted to open up a pro funds account, and you get it with no transactions. So Schwab is a good thing. Okay, so that answered the amount. Then what was the other one?
What is an estimated minimum account value to start with
What
to make the annual subscription worth it?
Oh, to make the annual subscription worth it?
Yeah.
Well, you can kind of look at it. We picked 365. It's $1 a day. You can go ahead and I'll just mosey back up. Well, I can just show you. I wanted to call up a Schwab account, but we're there. Let me go back to the beginning. And you can see here the gain yesterday on the 6th was $19,532. So if you have, let's say, $74,000 in order to put in, your gain would have been $1,953. So it's up to you. 365, we thought that was very, looking at the amount, you get this every day. And I think let's say if you had $10,000 and you made 20%, that's 2,000. But let me get the math right. 100,000, 10,000, you made 20%, that's $2,000 minus 365. So that's one question. Okay. Any other one? Hopefully I answered that.
You charge a subscription fee to get these tips. How much would we need to start with to offset the cost of your service?
I think it kind of ties in with the last one. The service is just $365 annually.
He said he's good to go now.
Okay.
Okay. There's a lot of questions. Hold on.
Okay.
I don't want to miss any.
No, that's good.
Okay.
I saw some familiar names on that list out there.
How will you, or I guess, will you ever tell us to sell and take the profits?
Yeah. We all know. I'm going to share my screen here. I'm going to do something.
What are you trying to do?
I was going to go to the Schwab, but I'll just pass on that. We're at the questions. Okay. What we do is that it deals with this idea of, let's say a stock is trading for $22. Okay. So you have $22 there. That's what the current trade. And I put in a stop market, and I put in a stop market to buy it at 24. Okay. So when it goes up $2, it's going to hit there. Now, some people, let's say its stock keeps on appreciating from 24 to 26 to 28 to 30. And somebody might have an order in there as a limit. So when the stock hits 30, as it goes through the 20s, it's as it hit 30, it becomes a limit order, and you take that profit, the difference between 30 and 22. Okay. So the next question is, how do you know it's going to not go any higher? So you have to play it, say, I know that I can using this strategy that I have, I feel very comfortable is that if it's on a trend and it continues to trend upward, why don't I just keep on holding it instead of taking a profit? Because I know that when we see it hit a high and start to bounce down off of that, we will go ahead and do the sell. Okay. So you're never going to get in at the very top. I mean, bottom and get out at the very top. It's more of a sine curve that when it comes off of that low, we want to get it right as it's breaking out, and conversely, ride it up to the top. And when it kind of maxes out and it starts to fall down, then go ahead and sell it at that time. But you don't want to take large losses. And too many times people will say they won't follow the sell criteria, and then they'll follow it down and go, oh, I just lost all my money there. Okay.
Okay. Can you do the calculator example again? So, you have the one you said do 10% of the available money and it gives you the shares to buy. Thank you.
Okay. I got that.
Okay.
And there was the, what you call it, today's effort. So good day again. Nice 2 days. Yeah, let me get back to that. My PowerPoint. And let me go and call that up, please. Let me see. I think that's what you were talking about here, isn't it? Okay, so here comes the order. And I talked about going to the far right, and you could, either change it or set up a new order through Snap Ticket.
Can
Okay.
you put it in presentation mode so it's bigger?
Okay. Got it. Okay. So here we are. We said we're going to, before you get there, as you go through this initial window, you see that the buying power was $10,418. That's the money that's left in the bank, let's say. That's not already, it includes monies that's being held in the positions. And then for every buy stop, it accounts for that money too. So it's not just the ones you own, but the one you possibly could own. So basically, if you look at this, I'm pretty much fully invested with my account. Okay. I only have $10,000 left. And so everything else is pretty much allocated. Now, when I went to purchase SPY, I go there, I selected the buy, I selected the stop market, and here we go. Buy, stop market. Okay. And then I said, well, I want to buy it for $690. Okay. And that was just a random number above the bid ask price. Now I said, okay, this is the real good part right here. I know I want to buy it for over here, but I only, instead of doing this, I only will put it, I don't want to put in 70,000. You can change that to 20,000. So whatever amount of dollars that you want to buy here, it will compute it in order to accommodate the maximum, but not to exceed $70,000. Okay. So then it goes down here and you see it that you can buy 101 full shares. It doesn't do fractions at 690, and it's going to be estimated to cost you that much, which is above your buying power, which then generated the error message. Okay. But I think that's what you were trying to get at is on the previous slide. You can either type in the amount of shares you want to buy, if you want to buy 10, or just put a number in there and it'll calculate it. Or if you want to put the quantity being the dollar amount that you want to allocate, that's how you would do it right there. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay.
My wife has 2 Schwab accounts and they do the money movement. Is 365 better than letting them move your money?
You mean she has a investment service? I mean, they provide money management for them. I take it that's what you mean.
They would have to clarify that.
Yeah. You can always shop around and see what you want. The things I feel very confident about that. Uh, but of course, I've been doing this a while, so it makes it a little bit easier. But we kind of took a look and said, uh, there are times that this is a growth strategy, and it involves momentum and mitigating risk. Where at every point we know where we can get out, so we're not waking up the next day and find out that something happened. Some world leader was abducted or arrested, and then the whole world falls apart. You always have stops that you can get on out. So that's what we try to do. Uh, you know, I do not have performance numbers on what the Schwab advisors do. They probably have numbers and things like that. We just felt that there was a, a segment of our TSP population, tips population, that might like something have more of a growth potential than what's available in the TSP.
And basically it's them doing the work and not other people doing the work. They would have to be placing those orders every day.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the Schwab thing works.
No, I'm saying the people that have Schwab tips are physically doing that.
Oh, yes.
That's what 365
That's
is.
right.
They're in control of their.
Yes. Well, and the other thing you have it too is that there is no such thing as a free lunch, let's say, is that a lot of times, and again, I have an investment advisory service, and I have a sliding scale, and it counts 1% of your first X amount of dollars. So with a $70,000 account, 700,000, that's $7,000 a year, or $365.
Okay, so we have 15 minutes left. We have a couple
Okay.
more questions. When you cancel an order, do you sell at market?
No, you just go to that far right column on the far right over here, and it takes that. If you have a buy or a sell, a buy market, a buy stop market, excuse me, it will change that. Okay. Or else if you want to delete a sell stop. So that just cancels everything. So on this far right, you can either change it, it takes you to that snap ticket, or you can just cancel the whole ticket. Cancel the whole ticket. So it has a lot of options you can get from the snap ticket too.
Okay. So for those of us just getting started with this, we use your spreadsheet and jump in with the yellow buy stops and then blue sell stops for anything we've gotten in on until we've fully cycled into all the owned stocks, right?
Yes, basically.
Okay.
I'll take it back to, so over here, let me get to one chart. I would pull out the spreadsheet for today. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Sorry about that.
Why don't,
Okay.
is there a cost associated with Schwab Tips 365?
Yes.
Okay.
This annual subscription is $365, basically $1 a day. And the I think it's monthly, $36 if you want it monthly, but you have 30-day free trial and you can cancel at any time.
Okay. I have
By the way, here's the Schwab Tips 365 you should be receiving if you haven't already. And on the far right half of it is where all the calculations are for those performance rankings and things like that. And you can see on this how it's changed a little. Excuse me, I have the wrong one up. You can see on this, there should be, when you finish up today,
what are you pressing on? Because
I'm showing my spreadsheet.
it's not coming up.
Oh, it's not?
No,
Okay.
you have to go to that different screen and share it.
Okay. Okay.
Why don't we do this? Would you, if I put Roy's phone number and email in the chat, and so if there's more specific questions, we can schedule one-on-one Zoom or phone calls to really walk you through any extra help. But I want to make sure that we answer a couple more questions. So it's Roy at wiserinvestments.com. And then his phone number is also up there. I'll put it in here again, but we can schedule Zoom meetings so we can share our screens and really walk through any specific questions.
Yes.
Um,
I was a little bit nervous about that, how technology is always difficult. So that's why I just put it into PowerPoint.
yeah. But maybe a little bit walking people through hand in hand with
No
their
problem.
screens would be helpful. Can you repeat what you said about exiting? Do you take profit alerts? I'm not sure.
Exiting, you always exit a trade with a sell stop. So let's say it's hitting a higher point and it's starting to fall off. That's when you would hit the sell stop. So it's really not an exit. It always has you use a set buy stop to get in and a sell stop to get out. Now you could sell that anytime in between by just placing a sell market order. If you said, I don't want to stick in this stock anymore, you can just select the market order and take the stop away. And so it doesn't rely upon where the price is going. It's going to do it right. I mean, fast. Okay.
So let's say we bought 10 shares of SPY today at what is on the spreadsheet. So a month goes by and you give us a new buy signal. So would we buy more?
No, because what you're going to have here is that this is not holding for long term. This is holding, let's say, could be one day, it could be 1 month. Okay. Usually you're going to see some movement in it. So it's not to add money into an SPY. And SPY, basically, I use that. Yeah, you can use one of the different ones that you have there. But let's say you have $750,000 in the account. And I'm just using that because that's what we saw up there today. And I said 10 times 70 is $700,000. But I also saw that, okay, I had 5 stocks that were watch lists. And the problem is that I wasn't doing anything with the money. So what I did is I employed that money to get up to basically 100% allocated by buying the SPY stock. Okay.
Are the sell stops adjusted as the price rises?
Yes, they ratchet up.
Okay.
Usually takes about 3 to 4 days to get to the break-even point.
There was another one. So if someone was starting today, would we just initiate the yellow only sells? When we are buying a stock, we also do a second order for that sell stock, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
You use the filled, you can go in there and hit opposite order. I'm not a big, because of the time periods that I was talking about, getting in, if you didn't get in at the very beginning, it's a little bit more difficult because a lot of times we made such nice big moves. And making money requires time, patience, and persistence. And patience is here, where you should probably wait for the next round. So the next time we get to sell, and then when it bounces back and it comes back again, there's always dips you're going to have. So there's loads of opportunities.
Okay. There was one question that I didn't want to forget. I have a margin cash account. Is this account okay for this? You reference IRAs and other similar accounts. I know taxes will play a bigger role for me in a margin account.
Yeah. All these accounts that I have are margin. When I don't use any spreads, I mean, options, other accounts I do. And I don't use margin as a loan. It's just there to help when you have spreads with options at times. But yeah, that should be fine. Every single one has that. If you have a question, just call Schwab. But yeah, all my accounts are margin.
Can you talk a little about why the strategy only uses stop orders and not sometimes also uses limit orders after hours?
Well, you could, but we just found that we've been using this for years now, especially last year. We refined it and we felt pretty good with the return. And so at times, like I mentioned earlier, if the stock, let's say, is at 20, you set the stop market at 22, it trades through it, we buy it at 22, and then it goes up to 30 where you have a limit, it's going to sell it there. If it's still trending up, you know, if it's always looking good, let the trend be your friend, and maybe it'll go up to 40, and then it'll do a topping maneuver. So you can handle it both ways. And I hate to be, saying this is the way it has to be or that's the way it has to be. But for the majority of the time with this strategy, that's how we utilize it. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
So thank you. They'll follow up with some questions personally. So I'm just going to put in again, if to schedule one-on-one Zoom or call, you can contact Roy
Yes, please.
or schedule. It would be better to reach out through email.
I think that you'll find it once if you even just take a look at tonight's or the Tips 360, Schwab Tips 365 for tomorrow, the 7th of January, and you kind of walk through the presentation and kind of do it. I think you'll get down the motor functions, and I think it'll all become much clearer to you.
Yes, it's being recorded. Okay, great.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Are they getting a copy of the video? As
Yes.
long as it recorded properly.
Yes. You'll get a copy or it'll be shared. And I'm also having, like I said, if your email is there, expect to get a copy of this presentation also. I think it's a good guidebook. So, okay. Well, thank you very much. And I hope everybody has a happy new year. Looking forward to it myself. A couple of good days on the market. Okay. Bye.
Hold on before you.
And make sure it records.
Yeah, hold on. Don't stop it yet. I just want to do something real quick. They're all putting their email addresses in, and I just worry that if it doesn't record. All right, you can end it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say stop share.
Yep. Stop share.
Okay. There
And
we go.
then you can hit the record stop up top. No, the stop. Yep. And
Yes.
yep.